Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have the E1 and it's getting its very first upgrade. And here it is. What we've got in these little bags here is actually a prototype from WPL. So when I say prototype, this is technically probably going to be a pre-production accessory for it, or an upgrade. What we've got, if you can tell by the weight, is some metal tracks. And also in the bag there appears to be a spring as well for the torsion bar, and there's all the pins for the metal track. And in the other bag we've got rubber pads and a different style sprocket gear for it, as the teeth pattern on the new metal tracks are a little bit different than the plastic ones, which hopefully with these metal tracks will improve it and it will not derail as often as the original stock plastic tracks, as I found they were a little bit too flexible and always just ended up derailing in some way and giving you the brrrr moment. So hopefully we'll get these plasticky rubbery tracks off and switch it to the new metal ones. Let's go! So, an hour and a half later, I've got two tracks now. I will say this now, for being a pre-production moulding and everything, they went together surprisingly quite easy-ish. The whole pushing the pins in was a little bit of a strain on my hands, but I've seen on the All Stars chat a couple of people have had issues with a couple of them being, or a couple of the mouldings being a little bit wrong on the track. The only issues I actually had was there was a little bit of like fleshing on the, like in the gaps where you have to feed them through, but a small file or just squeezing it shut with a pair of pliers ended up doing it quite nicely. The other issues I had was a couple of the pins which went through actually had no grip ends on them. If I zoom in, so you can see on that one there's a little bit of a grip, and then that one, it's quite hard to pick up on the camera, but it's like missing it on one side. So when I went to go put that one in, it just fell straight through the track itself. So I know WPL includes another bag, which is this one. And in this bag, you get a different style sprocket. And the sprocket itself is actually for the metal gears. I have the standard plastic one somewhere. So they provide you with a different sprocket because the teeth on it is slightly different. That's for the plastic tracks, and that is for the metal upgraded ones. Another thing I've noticed is with the plastic tracks, the spacing on it is completely different, so that's why it's included, because that's the plastic track. That is the plastic track gear, and as you can see, it doesn't always seem to want to feed in, it's just sort of hopping in and out. So with the actual metal tracked one, it runs a lot smoother. So the other thing in that bag was these little rubber feet, and to me they're more of a performance mod, because I like the look of the metal tracks by themselves. By the time you finish assembling them, you do end up with a couple of spare links and a few spare pins. So I tried putting them on the spare bit of track to see how they look and how they feel. They're a nice rubberized texture, but to me, I think I'm going to go scale over performance. Then it also saves me doing 67 rubber pads. So it's like 2 pins per side and you have to pull them through and then cut them off with a pair of pliers. I don't particularly feel like doing that. Don't get me wrong, yes, it'll probably add a hell of a lot more performance to it, but scale for the win. So my plan is to get these painted nice and black and go and take you out. They're going to hit each other. And watch out, the spray's coming back. So I kind of have to come clean about something. After assembling the tracks, I was messing around with trying to waterproof the E1, because we were going to take it out to a place called Linford. If you can check out videos on my channel there, they've got some nice waterfalls and lakes, so I wanted to see if it would splash through some, but at the moment we're currently in a drought and there was no water there. Well, in the process of waterproofing it, I actually killed the original motherboard for it. So, some of you may have noticed there is a zip tie which I completely forgot to cut down before I went out to film, sat on the top. And you can probably see this doesn't shut. And you're also probably wondering why. Well, that's a 3S battery in the back and a receiver for my FlySky Noble. So if I cut away this zip tie, you'll see there's two Hobbywing 1060s sat in there. And the other thing, not being very truthful about, is at the end of the video the Gearbox gave out. I haven't opened it up yet, but I believe it's because I replaced the motors as well. Let's open it up. So now with it open, you can see these are definitely not the stock motors. So what these are actually the upgraded kit motors from WPL. So these are what would come if you bought the kit, and these are normally what the ready to run motors, and this is what like the E1 originally came with. So I decided to swap them out and see if they would fit and work. Yes, they fit, and I have no idea if they work with the original motherboard, as like I said, it had died. So on a next, get this gearbox open and find out what actually died on it, because you can still hear it turns the motor. That is because I also replaced the gear in it, because when I was replacing the motor, one of the gears decided to break while I was trying to slot it onto this new motor. Alright, so with the gearbox open, I've had a quick look over. Everything seems to be fine, but I think I found the issue is actually these output shafts. I'll pop you on tripod so I can go with both hands with this. So now as I've got both hands free, what I believe it is actually this gear here. So I've got a bit of tissue so the grease, so I don't get grease on my hands. I've got WPL tyre because it's the standard hex which all their axles use. As you can see, I can turn the entire shaft, yet the gear stays in place. I believe there will be some reinforced ones coming out with a harsher grip on it, because this is, let me just use a bit of tissue and I just pull it out. Yeah, because I believe that's not actually harsh enough to keep the gear in place.